Hey, this is Garrett Gunderson with 5 Tracks of Wealth, and I'm welcoming you to the Hour of Power. I've got Kristi Frank with me. You probably know who Kristi is. She was on season 1 of The Apprentice. She had a restaurant in Los Angeles that was frequented by celebrities like Cher. She's a serial entrepreneur because I think she's done, real estate investing, you name it. So you're going to learn a lot that way. And I think this will be just a valuable conversation about how someone can really brand themselves, and essentially, that's one thing that's going to be consistent through your life is you. And in today's world, careers change, paths change, but there's so much equity that can be built because you were telling me that since The Apprentice, your business is even bigger 7 years later.
7 years later, it is now, I'm making more money now because I started to brand myself as a celebrity and use the Trump name and brand and tie that in. So, that's a whole conversation we can. How do you tie in celebrity to your business? How do you create celebrity for yourself and being named the guru in your field?
Now, when you did The Apprentice, was that before or after the restaurant?
So, I started the restaurant, and then right about when the restaurant was really at its peak.
Did you go from acting to the restaurant, or acting to real estate to the restaurant?
Real estate, restaurant, kind of very quickly. And when the restaurant was at its peak and getting a ton of press, I auditioned for The Apprentice. I saw this commercial, and Mr. Trump was saying, do you want to be my apprentice? Send in your reel and why you should be picked. So I shot this video in front of my properties. My mom shot it and went into my restaurant. And the casting process, there were 250,000 people who sent in or auditioned or applied. So you had to capture
How many people get on? Like 10?
16. 8 women, 8 men. And so it was really fast how you get their attention. It just got me in the door, and then you start having to go through these interviews like crazy. Like I had an on-camera interview, and then they put you in front of the network executives and Mark Burnett, and that is a whole nother story of...
Were you nervous during that?
Okay, so I have this acting background.
Right.
The casting director says, okay, you go in and flirt with them and be really sexy. So I have this, so I'm coming from this acting background, and I have this little bustier, and I walk in and I start flirting with Mark Burnett, and I'm young. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like being sexy. And can I cuss on this show?
Sure, yeah.
So Mark looks at me and says, Kristi, cut the shit. Why are you really here? And I was like shocked. And I instantly switched modes into my professional, industrial engineering mode. The next time I wore like a white blouse and slacks and really very professional. And I came the next time, he said, whoa, a little too far on the other side.
Nice.
Like you went from sex pot to,
Prude.
to totally like, we don't even know what you are.
So how have you taken it from being on The Apprentice and now have it 7 years later? Is it 7 years later?
Yeah.
And have it bigger?
First job after The Apprentice was a call from a man named Dan Kennedy. And I didn't know who Dan Kennedy was. And he asked me to endorse and do some filming with him for his line of books. And the first thing I did was I looked him up, and I started looking about what he did. And I asked him, okay, I'll film with you, but will you spend an hour with me after and give me some advice? And from that moment...
Which, by the way, that's genius that you did that.
Yeah,
I'll do this. I see who you are, so I know that you have some mental capital that could be really valuable for me.
And it's changed my life. Dan and I became...
And of course he said yes.
He said yes,
right.
And we formed this amazing relationship. He invited me to speak at some events. He invited me to host a show they did called The Phenomenon, where I got to interview the best of Glazier Kennedy. So here I have access to 20 of Dan's
premier
top
marketers,
people.
premier
Internet marketers.
branders.
It was just amazing people. And every single one of them, I said, hey, can I get your number? Would you like, can we sit down for coffee? So I had a group of people who understood the power of tying in with their brand, Mr. Trump, The Apprentice, how to, gain a lot of attention through the media on using it through their seminars, using it in their books, using a testimonial. And I kept getting hired. And I, after a couple years, I realized how valuable this thing was that I was providing a lot of attention for someone else's brand. And so I turned it into a business. And something else Dan taught me, I was listening to a CD, and he said, the worst sin you can do in business is not go back to your customers and offer your services again. I mean, he was talking about some service that he loved, but he had forgotten about it, and they hadn't reminded him that he needed to be continuing and investing. And so I called all my past clients that had hired me and said, hey, Trump is coming out with his Celebrity Apprentice. Let's do something and garner more PR. And every single one of them hired me back, and now my rates were double.
More, right.
Yeah, so
another good thing is increased prices over time.
Yeah, and it worked, and I would throw in some bonuses, and it's been great.
Well, what I think is genius here, and I want everyone to really capture this, is so you interviewed 20 brilliant people. Some people screwed up because when they meet someone like that, they think about their checkbook rather than their mindset, rather than their knowledge. And you had a really cool situation because you interviewed them. So when you interview someone, you get to ask questions like, what's their currency? What do they value? What are they? How do they contribute? What? Because everyone out there has a way that they like to contribute that you almost never need to even pay them for. It's just something that they love to do. I mean, getting you talking about raw food wouldn't be hard to get you going on that, right?
Exactly.
So when people you had such a nice setup that you could ask them questions and learn about them, then know how to ask them questions to improve what you're up to. Mm-hmm. So that's like just a brilliant model. And then the key is that you kept in touch with them.
Keeping in touch was the turnaround of my business. It was really the biggest change in why I'm busier today. I could have let those relationships fall and let the business die away. So I'm on a journey right now of something that feels so right at times. And it feels so connected and so in position. And then another idea or a difficulty or something, and then I'll think, oh, well, it's so stupid. I could do this so easily. What am I doing? So is that a red flag?
Number one, make sure that whatever happens, if it's totally in alignment with your sole purpose, there won't be exact evidence to find in the marketplace to support it. So a lot of people look for evidence in the marketplace, like it's a good time to do this business because the evidence is out there based upon this person, that person, the other. The problem is what they might be missing is that person that is doing really well in accounting is really a marketer, not an accountant, and most accounting firms are suffering because they're not marketers.
Right.
So they misinterpret what's happening.
Good.
And so what will happen is if we look for that evidence outside before looking inside, doubt could come in based upon, well, the economy's not right. Well, this person tried it and failed, and they're really smart. If someone doesn't know their sole purpose, well, then I think it's a mistake to invest anywhere else. I think if you don't know your sole purpose and you're going to start investing in outside of you, 401ks and mutual funds and, real estate because that's what everyone else is doing. Instead, what you have to do is you have to really get clear about your premise and your rules of life, meaning what do you say no to? What do you say yes to? Why do you do what you do, and who are you? If you get clear about that, life will work. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be the richest person in the world, because for some people, they want to be a coach. And it's a long road to be an NFL coach if that's where you're going to go. And there's going to be some low income for a time of that. Yeah. But you got to decide, is the fulfillment more in what you're doing or in the money that you get for what you're doing? And, fortunately for me, it's both, which I really like.
That's helpful. Yes.
It's helpful. So I can't, I get that. But so you got to, if you're not clear about it for yourself, then you could be distracted or derailed by outside opinion, by outside circumstance. And every entrepreneur that is successful has overcome circumstance and overcome opposition and overcome logic. Because if it doesn't exist, it's not necessarily logical. Like whoever built the first cell phone, the first airplane, not logical at all.
Right.
But that's the cool thing about sole purpose, is it defies logic if it's fully embraced and you're grounded in it yourself, because everyone else will not be able to see it like you see it.
That's big. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks. I needed that today. Thank you.